Welcome to Tool Time, bitches.
You can't say that. So YouTube's gonna censor us now. But you know YouTube's run by Nazis now?
Well, we need to say what needs to be said.
That's true. That's some bullshit they've been pulling. Basically, you can become a YouTube Nazi, or YouTube heroes as they call it.
Yeah, we're just sitting here in the parking lot of the World Trade Center.
Yep. We're gonna tear down some globalists, So if you're a globalist, stop watching this video right now.
And just know that we're coming for you.
Yep. We're gonna expose you. And your pleasure planes. It's gonna stop. And my boy Alex is already on you guys.
Friend Alex over at Infowars.com. Great friend.
Infowars.com. We're not sponsored by them. But Alex, if you're watching this video, please hook us up with a sponsorship. We need the money. I'm poor.
We need pure money not touched by globalists.
Right. And if you got some of that, what is it, Alpha Brain?
Please hook us up with it.
Oh shit! My fucking student parking pass has been up there.
I guess they know who we are now.
I don't know where I go to school.
A couple students might go missing.
Come at me, globalist. No. We're just sitting in my 1994 Ferrari.
Constructed it myself to make sure that I constructed it for him to make sure that the engine wasn't loaded with bombs, that the exhaust didn't have a leak in it, so that the gas would leak into the what would you call it, the cabin, the cockpit of the globalist killer car.
Yep, that's why I call my car Globalist Killer.
You wouldn't know how many people he has run over with it.
So
all
many
justified
globalists.
causes.
Yep. Self-defense.
He hasn't been touched for it. He won't get touched for it.
Exactly. No. Like Lena Dunham, who watches this video, I will not be afraid to use my car in a self-defense manner.
If we see you on the street, we're gonna rev it up to 80 miles per hour to make sure that the impact is deadly.
In a self-defense manner. I won't kill you outright because,
That's murder.
Yeah, it's murder. It's bad. Murder's bad. Only self-defense is okay.
We do not murder, we liberate.
Right. Interesting story. I read an article and it had an interesting point. We argue like a right to self-defense under the Second Amendment a lot because like the NRA and whoever owns them at the time, they like to, whichever gun company's pouring the most money into them, they like to push the Second Amendment because, well, it's the Second Amendment. That must mean it's really important. Oh, yeah, it is. But self-defense isn't mentioned anywhere in there. And I can't remember the guy's name. I'm gonna have to look him up again. He was a fairly liberal college professor, probably some East Coaster.
Probably some faggot from Boston. Probably.
But he was a fairly liberal defender of the Second Amendment. So anyway, he mentioned that we shouldn't be arguing self-defense on the Second Amendment because the Second Amendment talks about like a right to well-regulated militia and everything, the right to bear arms and whatnot, but it doesn't say anything about self-defense. Now, what it does or what might, and you could argue it, is the Ninth Amendment, which essentially says that there are rights that are not specifically mentioned in the Bill of Rights that you do have. So, you can argue in court that the Ninth Amendment guarantees you the right to self-defense.
Also, you could argue that it grants you the right to kill globalists because, you know, the globalists are threatening the very existence of humanity on Earth. So, essentially, you're defending the human race whenever you kill globalists. And you get bonus points, you get bitcoins if you do it in special ways. Mind if I have one of these?
Yeah, go ahead.
And we haven't gotten too creative when we killed globalists. We don't really have the time to get creative. It's kind of just like the way that they do this is cattle slaughter. We kind of do cattle slaughter for globalists. Kind of just line them up. We get the bolt gun out. Humane. Easy, quick. Efficient. Cost efficient. You know.
Cost efficient. Is the 50 cal really cost efficient anymore?
You know what is more cost efficient than the 50 cal is? Taking some male supplements. You know, maybe even a steroid once or twice. Working out. Getting enough bulk force so you can just slap something with a small little Swiss Army knife and kill them one hit.
I learned that trick in Destiny.
You know, we have our own little compound here near the World Trade Center. They don't even know what's going on.
We're watching them, and they know it.
But we get some help from the UFC.
Also, Mossad, if you're watching this, stop it. You know what you're doing, so stop it. Stop it right now.
We get some help from, you know, like Brock Lesnar, Anderson Silva. We all recruit them in our cause. They're on our supplements. And in turn, they teach us how to kill. We have several killers on our bill, but they're not bad killers.
Like Randy Orton.
Chris Benoit was on our bill too. But then that whole conspiracy where he killed his family and hung himself, I don't believe any of that. Sadly, he got to them, and they got to him before we could help him.
Yeah. It's a shame.
It's crazy what they'll do to mark you out to make sure that you appear as a villain.
Really, though, that shit happens a lot. Like, they will villainize everything. Like, with the marijuanas, essentially it started off with what, Prohibition ended.
You're saying that Mexicans did weed.
Yeah.
The racial connotation.
Yeah, it was, Prohibition ended, and the narcotic, I think it was, at the time, it was like the Narcotics Control Bureau or something like that. Well, they didn't have much to go after at that point other than, like, prescription drug abuse or something like that. So, they said, our agency might be defunded.
We need a new enemy.
Exactly. I said, hey, you guys don't like Mexicans. And an actual quote, they said, marijuana makes Mexicans crave white blood. And then bam, marijuana was bad.
That's the thing with the globalists. You see them, rather than, rationally trying to target individuals rather than race, they like to compile people into stereotypes. They like to play races like cards.
The race card. Because it's easy to divide and conquer. And people stop thinking of themselves as Americans or Canadians.
Humans.
Yeah, as human beings. and think of each other as black, white, Asian, Mexican, whatever, you lose that binding force that makes you strong.
Divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
And before we end this video, we should outline that in no way are we suicidal, and in no way are we bad drivers or
I'm a very good driver. I've never been a wreck.
Or careless with our weapons. You know, in no way are we on SSRIs right now. We're not gonna blow our cap off and go shoot up someplace.
Right. Just on that good old tobacco.
Mm-hmm. Another important thing, very important thing, make sure tobacco is in your system.
Globalists hate cigarettes. That's why they've been leading the campaign against tobacco. Here you lighter.
It's in my tobacco.
See, they've been raping the tobacco companies. So the globalists know that nicotine helps you fight them. So,
and they know that the Native Americans had used tobacco extensively to ward off evil spirits. Ever since tobacco consumption has gone down, the crazy has just gone up in humanity.
right? You know, I don't think murder rates were so high before they started crusading against cigarettes and putting filters on them.
We're putting stuff in them to make you die from smoking.
So you gotta have the no filter on it. So the filter, how the globalists get their juice into you. They corrupt you with it.
They're juice.
Mm-hmm. God damn it.
It's called pure Hebrew THC.
I'm telling you, man. I'm not saying that the Jews are behind 9/11.
But there's some Hebrew fingerprints in that whole incident.
Also Saudi Arabian fingerprints. More like Saudi Arabian money.
If we should be bombing anyone, it should be the Saudi Arabians.
Oh yeah. They're the ones who funded that shit. That's the craziest thing. An Afghani funded by the Saudi Arabians living in Pakistan orders 9/11 and we go and invade Iraq.
What's up with that?
Logic.
You might be asking, why can't we touch Saudi Arabia? Well, where do you think the foundation of our interests come from? Our oil interests.
Also, Wahhabism. Fucking Saudi Arabia promotes the most brutal, radicalized form of Islam. We talk about not all Muslims. You're right, but we're not dealing with the state-sanctioned ones that are actually causing these issues. ISIS, Wahhabists. What does Saudi Arabia promote? Wahhabism.
The only bastion of Wahhabism in the modern Arab world.
The only reason they're fighting ISIS is because their own thing blew up in their faces. Kind of like how we funded Saddam and it blew up in our faces.
You see somewhere like Lebanon. Lebanon is a very democratic country where all religion can be practiced freely without prosecution. You see them taking action against terrorists and they don't have much, retaliation taken against them because they know that Lebanon is strong in their beliefs, so they can't really be melded because they have the willpower to fight.
Right.
They were also the first ones to take brutal action against ISIS.
And Turkey's only doing it because Turkey only got involved because one, I understand they're getting attacks across their borders, and I'd be pissed about that too. Like if Canada was having a civil war and kept spilling into like Michigan or something like that, or Montana. I'd be pretty pissed. But they're also going in there because, well, Erdogan's got his own agenda. He doesn't like Assad. He wants Assad. ISIS, he's afraid that the whole ISIS situation will give Kurdistan an actual possibility of existing. Because people are starting to support Kurdish independence more because of this ISIS thing. Because the Kurds are fighting really hard against them. But the Turks are racist. And don't like the...
They also let ISIS fighters through their borders to travel freely.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anyone to blame besides Saudi Arabia...
It's also Turkey.
It's also Turkey, because they let that situation get like that.
Turkey's trying to exploit the situation for their own gain. I was so mad when that Caitlyn Jenner thing happened.
You brought the ash.
Oh. Because, come on. I thought those cigarettes are hard to ash. Because everybody got so up in arms about it and, like, focusing on it. I was like, it's great. Bruce Jenner found, well, now Caitlyn Jenner found herself. That's great. Fantastic. But I don't really think it needed the national hype that it did. Yeah, sure, it was a great thing for transgender rights and everything, or something like that. It brought awareness because a celebrity did it. Which also is really bad because it's kind of like, wow, the only reason we cared was because of...
Because it was a celebrity.
Yeah. But... that month, like 100,000 Syrians were injured and killed in their civil war. And we didn't fucking talk about that. Oh.
We have this belief that because it's the Middle East, you know, we think that the violence is expected, that we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
That it's supposed to be normal there, where it doesn't have to be normal at all. If you look at the Middle East, you know, in the early 20th century, it was a relatively stable system that was becoming somewhat modernized, even in the 60s. But then in the 70s and 80s, that's when you start to see the collapse.
Right. Partially because the fact that the U.S. and the Soviets were fighting proxy wars through the Middle East. We contributed a lot to the destabilization of the Middle East.
And we contributed a lot to the war power that the radicals have right now, because we trained them.
We trained them, we gave them weapons and money, and blew up in our faces. So we have nobody to blame but ourselves. Yeah, fight communism, fight the Soviet Union would have collapsed.
On its own.
On its own accord.
Inherent vice.
Yeah. From what I've heard, Reagan really only quickened the death of the Soviet Union by like a year. Like that was probably the extent of his impact. It would have collapsed on its own because they were starving, they couldn't feed themselves, they were having to import grain from everybody. So
it was its own issue that would have been resolved.
I mean, for God's sakes, they're finding twigs in their fuel. Mm-hmm. Like at one point, they were trying to make gasoline out of like refined pine fuel or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like they were trying to make pine trees into fuel. It was crazy. I remember that whole thing where they're pushing. We have zero unemployment. Yeah. They created the most useless jobs for people to do. Like, one of the examples was, they had people at the laundromats that would take your coins for you and put them in the machine for you. Just so that they could say they had 100% unemployment.
They were a system that could not afford unemployment at all. Mm-hmm. Because if they had any amount of it, it would just all fall through.
So for you tankies and commie cucks out there, doesn't work.
Learn to get away with communism that doesn't turn into crony communism.
Yep. You prove to me that communism can work on a mass scale without turning into a dictatorship, and I'll believe you. I will buy it once there's empirical proof that it works.
Hell, we'll even switch to it if you can prove it.
Yeah, shit. I'll become a communist. You can give me solid proof that it actually works on a mass scale.
Because if it works, then it's a perfect system and we won't have to worry.
I mean, shit, Venezuela right now, their ultra-socialist government turned into a dictatorship. The elections are now rigged. They enforced Christmas this year. They forced businesses to get into the Christmas spirit and give discounts and everything. The currency is almost useless. You spend, I think it's now like the equivalent of like, it's like $200 for a bottle of beer. It's crazy. You can't even fucking enjoy a beer in Venezuela now. We're like, capitalism's exploitive and naturally bad. No. It only became that way because we let corporations have too much power in the government. We let money get into government. Beforehand, like under Teddy Roosevelt, it worked just fine. Teddy Roosevelt went in, busted up the big trust busting, when you do some of that. He introduced sensible regulation that didn't hamper production, and things worked out. But then we got too lax. We didn't pay attention, and they just came right back.
Eternal vigilance is out. That's what you need. Where's my lighter?
Good question. Where put it?
I'm like afraid I'm gonna reach in that tobacco pouch and think it's gonna be like food, and I'm gonna bring it up.
I don't know where I put the lighter. Fuck. I thought you had it. Oh, there, it's between your legs.
Oh, yeah. That's why you get a big lighter, boys. Big lighter, big dick, no problems.
Yep. You can hang your lighter on your dick. It'll be just fine.
Don't put your Zippo in a hot tub either.
Yeah, I made that mistake.
Oh yeah, just because you don't like globalists doesn't mean you can't have fun either.
Right. Shit, our New Year's sitting in the hot tub with cigars, just enjoying our time. Hot tub, cigar, couple drinks. Ooh, it was magical.
Till we all started puking.
I didn't puke.
It's got a lot more fortitude when it comes to alcohol than we do, because
I'm a big buddy. I got absorbed more. Though that cigar was starting to make me nauseous once I got closer to the end. Like, I like cigars. I don't know. I think we should have gone more flavorful route rather than the traditional route. It just got rough after a while. It wasn't good.
I would keep having to bite off to get smoke through.
I think it was because of the hot tub. It was so moist and everything. Our cigars were getting kind of damp. Like, a little bit of moisture is good for your cigars, but
not too much though.
Yeah, or else it just becomes unsmokable. I think we should have like a glass of water because my mouth was getting like dry as shit.
Yeah, we should have known that we were getting dehydrated.
Well, CJ warned us. We didn't listen.
We were warned.
We were warned about Pearl Harbor.
Alright, well I think it's time for us to sign out before they track our IP down.
Yep, before the globalists get here and do whatever they do. Send us to Gitmo. Waterboard us. Start backing out of the World Trade Center parking lot here.
Kill globalists a day, that's how you get healthy.
Alright, thanks for watching Tool Time.
Yeah.
See you next.